And we are live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the School of Conscious Evolution. Tonight, we are live and with the company of the lovely Sheila Rose, who is a counselor. She's a spirit artist and she works particularly with children. So, good evening, Sheila. How are you?
Yeah, I'm really well. How are you?
Good. I'm very good. So, we are going to wait a little while. So, we will do a little chit chat until, we wait until people come in. So, is it Sheila Rose, your name, or just Sheila?
Um, Whatever you like. Sheila's good.
Sheila's good. Sheila.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, how I just I've been channeling quite a bit spirit recently. Not that I don't do normally, but I find that I have been guided to look more into the way we go by healing. And normally, healing can come in different shapes, can come, via allopathic medicine, meaning that we heal through mainstream medicines and medicinal knowledge. And some people prefer to rely a lot or a little as much with alternative medicine, homeopathy, acupuncture, and this is all physical. But then we come to the healing, which is, mental and emotional, and we use and we go for services for mental health, and in your case, counseling.
Yeah.
Now, I understand that you do. Do you work with children as well as adults?
Yes, I do. So basically, I used to just do readings.
Mm.
When I started my spiritual awakening back in 2009, 2008 was the big dark night of the soul and all of that waking up process. And then I started doing readings and some spirit guide portraits. But I was guided because I was working just with adults at that point. I was guided to bring my work into more of a mainstream way where it would be more accessible to different types of people, not just to the adults who are already seeking, some kind of spiritual guidance. So I went and did a degree in therapeutic arts counselling.
Mm.
And that was beautiful. I mean, it was a life-changing experience for me. But it also meant that I was using lots of different types of tools and learning how to listen to people and how to work with different types of mental illnesses and so on.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I actually had a sort of a fear of people who were neurodivergent. And I kind of had this idea in my mind that, well, I'll work with certain types of people, but I don't think I can go to that area because it's too scary. But you know how the universe works. It kind of encourages you, let's say, to face those fears and to go into things that you maybe wouldn't choose for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
My first job in counselling was working with children with special needs, and yeah, I'm so glad that I did it.
Oh wow! Oh wow! So, do you work for organizations or do you work for yourself?
Yeah, a bit of everything actually. I work for myself and I work in a few schools, and I also work with another company called Freedom of Speech, working with adults. So and I do my art. So I have my fingers in quite a few pies.
Yeah, as you do, as you have to do these days, not years, these days, isn't it?
Yeah, and then as you saw when I did the show, I was doing tarot or oracle card readings. So, I have quite a lot of different types of skills, and I find that they all complement each other. So, like when I'm doing the counseling work, sometimes with the children, we do drawings together, and that's really fun. And I can even teach them, a little bit of art techniques and things, so they learn skills.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and when I'm doing the psychic work, a lot of times the counseling comes in because people come to me in pain,
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
and I'm then able to channel, but also to use some of those counseling skills. Yeah.
Okay, yes, I understand that, and I can understand exactly where where you're coming from, because a lot of us that do not have counseling skills as such, I mean, with diploma, what have you, we still find to having to draw from our own personal experience, in life, and so I understand exactly how handy, if we want to call it that way, would be to work that way. So I just wanted to say to the people, I can see that there are people joining in. If you want to pop in and say hi. It's today, the 10th of July, 2024, and there is a football match tonight. And England is playing, so I don't think, that there will be some people may be able to join us a bit later on during, this show. So how do you find the children react to your counseling? As in, I know that obviously they do love their pens and pencils and coloring and drawing, but how do you think your experience and your, um, you know, um your spiritual knowledge comes in healing emotionally? Or
That's a beautiful question, and thank you for asking. So I had a very difficult childhood myself, and I think this is quite a common story for light workers, that we tend to come into this world into very dark situations where we are put in a position where we have to deal with certain traumas and maybe toxic relationships. And it seems to me, anyway, that most people who later in life become light workers have this very dark past that they've had to work through. So, even though it can seem like, well, why do these bad things happen to good people?
sure.
It's a bit like what you do with that trauma, and how you apply your own healing to the greater good, which is what I do. So, if I could have had someone like me when I was a child to listen to me, to hold space for me, to validate my feelings, obviously it would have been an easier ride.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
for me to be able to take all of that experience of knowing what it's like to be that child, and to apply my spiritual skills and my counseling skills, I do get some really good results, with the children. And sometimes I think it's not even anything that I do or say. It's just the fact that I'm there, the energy is exchanged. You don't even necessarily have to say anything. You just have to be there in a loving and supportive way.
Absolutely. And the fact that someone is listening to your problems is already a big step ahead,
Yes.
either because we cannot talk to anyone about our problems for whichever reasons, because we don't want to, um, and because sometimes, even if we have the courage to talk to someone, we may be misunderstood. So a neutral figure, such as the one of a counselor, actually, will, it's half, I want to say it's almost half job done, because you're already there in a way. You're looking forward to be there so that you can talk to someone about it, particularly when it comes to children.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed children being spiritually awakened?
Yes. So a lot of the children I work with are very sensitive, and sensitivity is, it's kind of hand in hand with the spiritual abilities, if you like, because when you are sensitive to those subtle changes, that's how we pick up on spirit. And we can feel like changes in the room, like if a spirit enters the room or something like that. Children pick up on those things in the same way that maybe animals do as well. They have this sort of more of a sixth sense that there isn't only this physical dimension, but there's something else.
Yeah.
If you have someone sitting there who's not going to tell you that you're crazy if you think that you've seen something, or you have an imaginary friend or whatever it is, it helps to validate them in their experiences. Yeah.
Of course, yes, of course. And instead, spiritually, for you, you understand that you come from like a lot of spiritual people with a difficult past and the development. What was the trigger for your awakening? If I may ask, if not,
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. It was a divorce.
okay.
So I was in a kind of a very difficult marriage with someone who was very dominating. And I was very sort of suppressed and victimized in that situation. And he met somebody else, and then all the dreams that I'd built up around that marriage and around us, having a future and everything, I was forced to kind of let go of all of that. And I also had a miscarriage at the same time. So I was going through a divorce and a miscarriage. So I felt like everything just crumbled at once. And it's it's a lot to deal with in one go, from thinking that you were going to be married forever to finding yourself alone. And I had a very young child. He was only 1 year old. I had a 1-year-old baby, and I was going through this miscarriage and divorce. So it was a dark time.
Yes, yes. And you know what? Guess what? Guess I went through exactly the same thing.
For you?
In the same year, I had a miscarriage. Things weren't going well. I became pregnant. I found out that my, at the time, husband was in another relationship. And by the time my child was a few months old, we were basically divorced. And there was for him no way back. He and as you say, having a pregnancy and going through a divorce at the same time after you had also in the same year a miscarriage, it's been tough time. So and and this is why exactly you were saying earlier on, a lot of us have gone through a trial, and we had to touch rock bottom so that we could start waking up to the possibility of seeing reality and this life from a different perspective.
Yes.
And may I ask you, who are your guides?
Oh, well, funny you should ask that. Now, I have a few. I mean, everyone has like more than one, but I have a few that I work with consistently. So my main one is actually a Native American Indian guide, and he has very much a warrior energy, which I find really balancing for me, because because I'm an empath and I'm very feminine and soft and struggle with boundaries, and so I really need that warrior aspect. He's very strong and masculine and kind of the opposite to me. So he really helps to balance me out.
So energy, feminine and masculine, basically.
Yes.
So that's how you get the part. Okay, I get it. Nice.
Yeah, and he was with me, was showing himself back in 2009. And because he's Native American Indian, I was guided to Two Feathers. I don't know if you know it. It's a shop in Brighton.
I was reading your biography. I'm not familiar with that shop in Brighton, but I'm pretty sure that followers there, they in Brighton, they know, and I've got quite a few people that follow me there are also. They know Brighton quite well, so I'm sure people can understand. And so so I take that the shop was quite a well-known shop in Brighton.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's very well known. It's a really wonderful place, and it's still going strong.
Okay.
I went down there recently and had a chat with Peter, who runs it. But because I was aligned, so I was going through my awakening, and I had this, this guide helping me through the next steps. When I went to Two Feathers, they offered me a job there to start doing readings, and I hadn't really been doing readings before. And I was just like, okay, okay, let's do it. So I went from sort of never really having done readings seriously to suddenly doing them every week. I was wide open then, so I was absorbing everything from everyone. I wasn't really in control.
Yeah, because you wouldn't have the grounding, the protection that you would have been aware of. But you know what? I think, when I started doing readings as well, very many years ago, I was quite the same. And someone had to come to me because I was suffering with migraine or headache during an event. And he said, like, you're like an antenna. You're absorbing everybody's energy walking past.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he kindly suggested me to do a little thing with a candle and incense and what have you, with crystals. And at the time, I hadn't even done my crystal, my 3 years advanced crystal work, college. And he created a sort of a sacred space where I would be protected by all of that. So I suppose you need to learn the hard way, as you said earlier on, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit like having a superpower, but you can't control it.
Yeah,
and it's just on all the time.
Of course. And do you find people come to you for private artist mediumship? Or they would ask you just for normal? Because you see, normally, I'm kind of comparing to some people that have been doing mediumship forever and ever. I'm relatively new, and because this has been my path, and this is what I'm involved with at the moment. So what I wanted to ask is, like, would they come to you just for a normal reading, or they would say, could I have, a reading with you drawing spirit as well?
Yeah. So I used to do the readings where I would just sketch their guides whilst they're sitting in front of me. But I decided to make it more like of a professional finish, because I don't like to just leave it as a sketch. Because you can see, I like it like really detailed.
That is so beautiful. It's
Thank
really
you.
beautiful. And I saw the detail particular on your Facebook page, and she looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah, she's beautiful. I'm
She
going to take her to the fairy festival in August.
Oh,
So,
whereabouts are you going to?
so it's called the New Forest Fairy Festival.
Okay, all right. Because I know that there is one in, I mean, mind, probably they're everywhere now, but there is something similar in Hastings as well.
Okay.
In August. But I've heard of the fairy one as well, actually. It's just the name is coming familiar to me now. And so, what will you do with that? Will you be selling it or?
Yes, so I'll be selling her, and I'll have some other of my paintings and prints and some greeting cards and things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and just basically meeting people. And I love the fairy festival because I've always believed in fairies. I love nature and I love nature spirits. And
Well, if you can see, there is one behind me on that by the wall. Well, probably it's too far away, you can't see it, but she's ever so beautiful. And for the time, not first time, but this year I've really decorated my garden with a lot of elementals and fairies and dragons, and I really love their energy right now. It's something that I've probably worked with a little bit many years ago, and then went on to angels, and then wow, mediumship came out to the fore. But this year and right now, this summer, it's a lot about those energies. So probably they are to do a lot with, helping me in particular with the spiritual development. I've got a dragon, one of my new additions to my ever-growing team of guides.
oh, wonderful.
Yes, indeed. So we are coming towards almost halfway to the evening. So I just wanted to say, if you guys following us, would you like to drop a message saying that you're open to a reading? Then we will be providing a few readings, and and go with the flow basically. So just drop us a line saying open, and then we will take it from there. So do you have any project, spiritually speaking, for development? To where are you, where, not you, where is spirit wanting you to go towards?
I think I'll continue to work with children because I took a break from doing the counselling back in 2020, obviously lockdown and all that. And I thought, well, this is okay. I'll just spend this time, lockdown doing my art, and I probably won't go back into schools because I just thought, I love my painting so much, and I love being in my studio, and I loved that whole lockdown part where I didn't have to get in the car or go anywhere. I could just walk from my house into my studio and paint. And so I kind of at that point said, all right, well, I can put aside going into schools, and I can put aside that work, and I can just focus on what I love, which is painting.
Yes.
And my guides were not happy with that decision.
Right. And rest assured, we'll always know. Okay.
And they told me in no uncertain terms that I needed to go back into schools. And I had a little tantrum, and I said I didn't want to.
Right.
And they said, well, it's not really about you, is it? It's about
Yes.
they need you. They need help. Children need help.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I rather reluctantly signed back on in 2021. But over the last 3 years, I really feel like I've grown as a person, to where I'm really good now at what I do when I'm helping the children. I'm really good at identifying certain issues, and when the parents come for meetings with me, I can really help point out to them certain strategies they can do with their children, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So I think I will continue to work with children, but probably on a part-time basis, so I can also do my spiritual work.
With spiritual work. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And so perhaps Burbala, are you here? Because I feel that there is a message for you from Spirit. So if you're still with us, can you please give us a wave or something? And so we can give some readings as well at the same time. What is do you have any more? So we were talking about spirit guides. You mentioned about the American Indian, and you mentioned about, do you have any other guides in specific? Because I think earlier on you mentioned about Bridget.
Oh yeah, so Bridget is not actually my guide. It's the guide of my second son's father. So basically, I first did a spirit guide sketch for him back in 2011. Okay, Lisa's here.
Yeah, Lisa's here. So if you want to take, start with Lisa, and then we can chat between readings as well.
Okay. Oh, you want me to read for Lisa?
Yeah, why not? Lisa is open. Let's read for Lisa. Lisa, do you want to start, or do you want me to start? So
You can start. You start.
I start. Okay,
Yeah.
Lisa, so tonight the topic for this chat show is to do with emotional and psychological psyche development. And I feel in particular that you've been washed recently by a lot of emotions, which you thought you had healed in the past, but they have been coming back to you in waves. I understand that there is a gentleman in spirit, which is family. I believe it might have been a partner in the past, and I feel that he's saying to me that he always loved the sea, and he would have loved to do more traveling. He is a tall man, a gentle soul, and I feel that he had health issues, which might have been also the cause for his passing. Oh, your husband is in spirit. Okay, Lisa. So he is saying that he feels your emotions, and you might have felt his presence more strongly recently around you. Now he's showing me some Crocs, so I don't know whether the Crocs shoes. He had a lot of health issues and caused this passing. Okay, yes, thank you for confirming that. So he's showing me some Crocs shoes. So I don't know whether you had some. They are blue, dark blue. So I don't know whether you have them or someone around you have them, or he used to have them. But he's showing me these Crocs shoes, which he's saying about be careful with them. So I feel he's trying to warn someone not to wear them as often because they may not be safe. I don't know why, because a lot of people wear them these days, and I never heard of an issue. But so we not sure about the Crocs are. Lisa, keep it in mind and keep it on the side, because that might be something that will come to mind at a later stage. I'm just giving what Spirit has for you. Sheila, what would you like to add to that?
So when I'm feeling Lisa's energy, It feels very much the heart and throat chakra that are being affected at the moment. And I feel there's also some trauma stuck there. It feels a little bit like post-traumatic stress. I'm not sure if, Lisa, if you've had any kind of really high anxiety moments, or almost like feels a little bit like panic, because I can feel like all the chest closing in. See, I feel it in my own body.
Yeah, sure.
I feel that it's like a squeezing sensation around the heart and the throat. And I feel like it's like something wants to be released. And I wonder if there's some way you can do some healing on this area, especially around this issue of your husband passing, because I feel like, you know, it's maybe affecting how you express yourself or how you are showing up in the world, and the decisions that you make. You know, when we make decisions out of fear, you know, we're not always seeing all the doors that are in front of us. So I feel like there's still some work there to process. Yeah. Bless you.
Yes, I could feel like this emotional, you know, waves of feelings as well.
Mm.
And I had a strong sense that, you know, these were to do with a past, you know, where there was a lot to overcome besides the shock itself of his passing. Also, you know, the fact that you weren't, Lisa, quite ready. I mean, who is? But you really weren't ready for his passing, because you might have been aware of his difficulties, but you know, in your heart, and I feel heavy chest at the moment, just like you as well, Sheila Rose. You know, like I do feel, you know, physical sensations. We are kind of got similar things going on there between us in our life experience as well. You know, and I feel in with you that you are trying so beautifully to actually heal that. But I don't think in your heart you have actually found a way for you to feel better. It could be temporary, you know, but then these can come back, and then you wonder why, you know, like they are still there, because you think surely, you know, I must have, you know, healed at least part of it. Do you have anything else, Sheila Rose, that you would like to say?
Yeah, I would say just be so patient with yourself, because I think, you know, we as humans, we tend to expect ourselves to, you know, get on with it, you know, keep calm and carry on, and just get on with life, because life doesn't stop for anybody. You know, it's always, we're always having to grind and keep going and make money and look after the house and the kids or whatever it is. You know, and I feel like sometimes we just want to get on with things and not to have to feel so much, you know, because with you, I do feel like it's just such a big emotion that, and it does feel a little bit kind of stuck there in the chest area. And I think that maybe some kind of maybe ceremonial healing, like going to a retreat or somewhere where you can, because I almost feel like you want to scream or get some of this out. You know, I feel like there's something that's kind of coming up and it's stopping there, but it needs to go all the way out. So you might find that will kind of bring you a bit more peace.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful, Sheila Rose. Thank you for that. And Sheila, tonight in specific, giving the messages, she will be providing information coming from Spirit on the recipient's emotional point of view, because Sheila is a professional counselor and spirit works with that too during the messages. So I just wanted to say a good evening for the ones that have been joining us, excuse me, a bit more lately. So Bev Newton, good evening. And then Nettie. We've got Jennifer Rose. Hi, Jennifer, from the US. And we have Carol. And so if you would like to have a message, just drop us a line and say that you're open for the message, and then we will provide you. Hopefully we can get a message for you. Now we had Nettie. Nettie, if you're still around with us, can you say hi? Hopefully, you're still there. Okay, so happy to be here with you. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. So happy that you could join us. So Nettie is here actually. So here she is. What do you pick up on Nettie, Sheila?
I'm getting a lot of strength there. With Nettie, just having to draw on your own strengths and, discovering through life just how strong you are. It feels to me like running a marathon, like you keep going, and it's like, okay, I'm getting tired, but you still keep going. So I really feel that there's a lot of resilience there in you, Nettie.
I feel stubbornness to some extent, even. She wouldn't let go until, she's like,
Giving up, I'm still going, yeah.
Yeah. But I think she's been quite successful so far. And I feel that Nettie has parents in spirit, if I'm right. And I also have grandparents, granddad and grandma. I feel they are one of each from each side of the family. So Nettie, let us know if you can take any of this so far, so that we can link in. We can have a stronger link to your to the spirits that are around you. I feel, Nettie, that the bond in the family is very strong there for you. I feel that there is nothing else in life you would fight for so much for. And so that is everything. And I also feel that there is like a young man, I believe is with us still in the family. And I feel that he has been having some troubles there. And you've been trying to help him too. And so Spirit is saying, don't give up, keep being that strong. People do tend to come to you, Nettie, isn't it? Because of your strength, people do tend to come to you a lot. So I've got this name that keeps being shouted at my ear. So Lisa, I don't know whether you can take it or it's for Nettie, but it's Mark. I hear Spirit saying Mark shouting out. So I don't know whether either of you can take it, because I had it before with you, Lisa, and then I didn't get around to say that. Nettie, I feel that you have some plans for this August. There will be some lovely time. I think you've been going through some hardship. And as we said, as Sheila said as well, you've never given up. So, keep doing the good job, but also don't forget to look after yourself. What do you?
And that's what I was picking up on as well, is that, I feel the reason why, Nettie, you're feeling that closeness with the mother bond, because you actually need some of that mothering energy right now. You feel you need someone to give that to you, that kind of nurturing. And it's almost like, I'm seeing someone like stroking your hair or just doing little things for you that the kind of love that a mother can give, which is very nurturing and at times can be unconditional. And perhaps that's why you're feeling that desire to connect with her right now, is because you need some of that nurturing for yourself.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, when we don't have our mums there, when
Mm.
you get older, you still kind of need a mum, but you're
Mm.
independent, so you just do your own thing. But I think sometimes we need to give that to ourselves. So whether that's like, give yourself permission to go to bed early, or go and lie in the bath, or do something nice for yourself. Go pamper yourself a little bit.
Mm. Absolutely. Yeah, I feel that Nettie is always on the go, and she gives herself. It's not the time. I don't think she's giving herself permission to take that time off, which is actually quite. Doesn't it tell you something from a counseling point of view, Sheila?
Yes, and it does go hand in hand with our culture, or with capitalism, that there's this crazy idea that if you're not working, that means you're lazy, or if you're not always achieving, or if you're not rich, or if you're not this, that, and the other. And so we have so much pressure on us all the time.
Mm.
And now, especially with the cost of living going up, and I think there is that tendency to feel guilty if you take a little bit of time off. It's hard.
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. So, Nettie, when you have a moment, let us know if you can take these latest messages from Sheila as well. So we have a new entry, so to call Bob Robert. Good evening, Robert, and thank you for joining us tonight. Send us a wave, or something that you are still with us, and then we can move on to do the reading for you. Annette is saying yes, and thank you, ladies. So hopefully, she's she can make treasure, if you like, of this lovely message for her. So good evening, Robert, and thank you. We are based in the UK. I'm based in Surrey. Where are you based, Sheila Rose?
I'm in Sussex.
So we are not very far, are we? Very good. So, Bob, what do you pick up for Bob instead, Sheila?
It feels to me like a disillusionment. It feels a bit like the Tower moment, that kind of spiraling feeling where you don't know who to trust or what to believe. And it can be very uncomfortable, that it's kind of like the dissolving of something that maybe you thought was very solid. But actually, when you look around, it's not, there's nothing to hold on to. That's kind of the feeling that I'm getting when I tune in with your energy.
I feel that Bob has is finding really difficult to trust other people. And I think that, Bob, you are trying really hard to get on with life, but sometimes it feels overwhelming. So I feel that there is a male presence in your surroundings, spirit-wise. He feels like a brotherly presence around you. So it could be either brother, or a friend that was quite close to you. And and that was a very deep and meaningful relationship. Nevertheless, I feel, by the way, they are saying to me, Spirit is saying to me that there is someone else called Bob in your family as well. I think it might be going down the ancestry line even, so might not be someone like a cousin, for instance, still with us with that name. I feel that October is going to be a significant month for you. I believe that you might have a little project or something which finally might be able to take off, and you have almost lost the hope for it to happen because so much has been going on for you and with you that you're just almost left in a background sort of thing, you know. I feel that there is a lot of confusion with you mentally as well on the decisions you want to take, and all I can see is like a whirlwind of air on the top of your head. You know, like it's a bit like reading these tarot cards, which are very visual, and almost Spirit is giving me a similar kind of imagery, you know. Okay, so it's the 5 of coins that I see. So normally the 5 of coins, because sometimes Spirit's very funny actually. When I start talking about cards, they give you straight away the card that would have come up. And the 5 of coins is to do with one feeling being left out in the cold. And I feel that actually this card would represent your current situation. It may not be physically what it actually is, but this is how you are perceiving the situation, okay? And I feel that there is a lot of sadness, not even anger. I think you may become angry one day with a hindsight, thinking, how could that ever happen to me? But at the moment, you're still in a grieving process because I don't feel that the tough times are to do just with missing someone. I think other things have been going on as well at the same time. So, Bob, if you do resonate with what we are saying, can you please, type in a message so that we can strengthen that link with your guides around you. Do you want to add anything else, Sheila?
Yeah, it's just it's I just like to say, that feeling about being different or being not like other people, or when you comparing yourself to other people and saying, oh well, these people have achieved this by my age or whatever, it's really unhelpful, because I think that there's too much of that comparison where you think that you should be at a certain level, or things or people should behave in a certain way. And life is very unpredictable sometimes, and we can't really put people in boxes or say it's going to work out like this or that. And I think that's where some of the confusion comes in, because we get taught that if we do certain things, like if you go to school and you get good grades and then you get a good job and everything's going to be fine and you'll buy your house, and there's so much missing from that picture. So, and I think everybody's experience is different. So you can't really compare your experience to other people. You need to just work on accepting yourself for who you are, accepting that, I'm different, but that's okay. I don't need to be like other people. I've got my own journey, my own experience, my own uniqueness, and that's okay. So I would say just work on that acceptance if you can.
Absolutely. And if I may add, Spirit was suggesting that Robert would be someone's middle name in the family. But as always, I say, take the information and, just leave it there. You may or may not, but you may find out, more details. This happens every so often. when giving a reading and details. And Bob, Spirit is also given me a number which is 67. So that could be either the age of the person that passed, or might be the year 1967. Okay. And it might be relevant as a date of birth or date of or a major event that might be that people will remember for whichever reason, where something major has or important or relevant has happened. Okay. And also I'm getting February for you as a month that would be either a anniversary or birth, so birthday, and a month where something important might be happening within the family, even as in memories. Okay, so I think we will be going there. And thank you, Bob, for joining us. Obviously, these are only very short messages because, we want to be able to try. If anybody else would like to...
Can I just say one more thing for Bob?
Go on, please do.
I just feel like I have to address the comment about you're finding it hard to keep going. So sometimes when we go through these very difficult periods, it's like an ego death. So you might have these thoughts like, I can't do this anymore. It's too hard, feeling like you want to give up. But it's not actually you, the soul, that's giving up. It's just your ego has been playing a certain role, and the ego is tired of playing that role. And so that's when we get these feelings like, I can't do this anymore, something's got to change. And that's actually a very important prompt that's coming from the soul, because the soul recognizes that you've outgrown that aspect, that ego that you were. You're not playing that role anymore. It's time for change. So, I think people get really alarmed by those feelings like, I can't keep going, or I can't do this anymore. But, if you go into that feeling and ask yourself, like, what is it that I can do to change, or what different path can I take? That means I don't have to keep going on this path, because this path is not working. This path is coming to a dead end. This path is causing me confusion and pain and sorrow. And that is your soul's way of saying, you can't do this anymore. You need to change and try something else. And there's many doors in front of us all the time, and we have to choose which ones we're going to walk through. So just as a word of encouragement, even if it feels like it's the end, it's the only the end of a chapter, and you can open a new chapter. I had to say that.
So beautiful. I mean, and I'm sure all of us can take that to some extent, because we will have come to a very difficult time in our lives where we would have felt that strongly. And with the hindsight, obviously, personally, from my personal experience, I would say, yes, I could, that is so true, actually. When we feel that it's the end, it actually was the end of that chapter and the, beginning of something much bigger that I certainly couldn't think or even imagine. But, the message from the other side is always like, allow us to come into, your life and, allow us to guide you. And these awakenings following trauma, grieving, and so on, they are part of who we are as human beings. And we are here to learn to overcome these challenges, no matter how hard. I remember my mom, I'm Italian originally and a Catholic, obviously, as well. And my grandmother used to say, God will never give you more than you can bear, or more than you can, so, and sometimes, when people say, how do you do that? You must be so strong. Well, you don't think you're strong. You think you just need to keep going. But, like, they will be subjected to a different type of life experience, which they have the strength to, and it will be, they can build from, in terms of starting new beginnings. So we have all, what I'm saying is, we all have our own personal journeys, and we certainly cannot compare ourselves to anybody else, because that's the truth. As I was listening to you, Sheila Rose, I felt an immense sense of peace and calm. And it's so beautiful. It is so beautiful. And I would love for you to come back and visit us sometime in the autumn, winter, maybe, to come in, and maybe we can chat about other things as well, things that are, will be relevant for you as a spirit artist. Have you ever done any spirit artist online, drawings, or you just do, how do you do that?
So when someone commissions me a spirit guide painting, I will go into my studio and I will sense their energy and sense their guides, and I'll start making some sketches.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as the sketch develops, I get messages as well, so they chat to me while I'm drawing, and I write the messages on the side. And once I get an idea of what they look like, then I'll move it onto watercolor paper, and I'll do it in color. So first colors I'll get will be the aura, so I'll see the aura of the guide. And I'll start to work on details like the color of their eyes and how long is their hair, and all these little details that I love to focus on. And it takes me about 2 weeks to do it properly. So, and then the person obviously gets the grand reveal.
Yes.
And then when I do the reveal, I tell them all the messages that the guides, because they talk to me while I paint. Once I reveal the painting, I give them all the messages as well. So it's a process. It's a process.
Yeah, and we all, work differently with spirit, don't we? I've had a few spirit artists that have, the reason why I'm asking, that a few spirit artists have come online, and then they had a camera. Obviously, they had done it 1,000 times, and then they show the drawing. And as they connect with the person in the public, they will start doing the sketch and the outline, and they will give the message. So this is what I was just investigating, and see whether there would be or could be a possibility with you. But certainly, I truly, truly love the fact that your counseling skills come in through spirit, and therefore you're able, like you've done with Robert, you're able to give some counseling, somehow some directions, some insights. And effectively speaking, I mean, this is what spirit does with us, isn't it? They give us their nuggets of knowledge, with the difference that you come from a professional point of view and perspective, which I think it's whoever gets this message for you, they are in for a truly deep message, personalized one, in that sense, to try and overcome their current difficulties. So we've come to 8:30, so we are about to close. I would like to say thank you to everyone that has joined us tonight from Halifax in Nova Scotia, the UK, California, and thank you so much for having been with us. Next week, I have a lady from San Diego, actually. She's in California herself, Sandra Ferreira. She is a evidential medium, but she's also a musician. And she brings other type of skills here. So I am looking forward to having Sandra with us. And in 2 weeks' time, that taking us to towards the end of July, we will have the Trans Medium Phil show. And, we will carry on until August. And I hope to see you here again next week and for the weeks to come for more soulful chat and insight messages from spirit. And I hope you have learned a little bit more with us tonight. Thank you, Sheila Rose, for sharing and for giving us freely your time tonight. And I hope to see you soon again.
Thank you, Daniela. It's been a pleasure.
Take care. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.